The rumors in the void. The galaxy was wide and endless, filled with billions of stars, but in the empty silence between them, rumors always found a way to travel faster than light. It began in the shadowy markets of the Outer Rim, where smugglers and traders whispered about strange human ships. Some said they were so big they could hide entire moons. Others claimed they made no sound, no light, no trace, only silence. A fleet that swallowed scanners whole, ships that looked like moving shadows in space. Most laughed, calling it human exaggeration, because the galaxy had long mocked Earth as a small world with stubborn people but little real power. Yet behind those jokes was unease, for humans had surprised the galaxy before. They were not the oldest race, not the strongest, not the richest, but they had survived things no one else had. Their home was called a deathworld, a planet of storms, quakes, poison, and predators. And yet they had thrived there. If such a species claimed to build warships from the stuff of the universe's bones, dark matter itself, perhaps the laughter was not so safe. In the starports of Dara Prime, a merchant captain told a story. He claimed his convoy was passing through an abandoned sector when the stars disappeared, not dimmed, not hidden behind a planet, but erased, swallowed in absolute black. And then, just as suddenly, the starlight returned. But one of his escort ships was gone. No explosion, no distress call, no debris, only silence. He swore that something huge had passed close, something unseen, and his crew never spoke of it again. On the moon of Koresh, a pirate crew sold stolen cargo. They bragged about raiding a human convoy, but their voices trembled as they told the rest. An outline of a ship had appeared above them, a shape that blotted out the stars. Their weapons had no effect. Their scanners returned only emptiness, and then a voice came through their systems, not from comms, not from any signal, but inside their minds. It said only one word: leave. The pirates obeyed, abandoning their stolen goods, fleeing into the dark, and swearing never to cross human borders again. Still, many refused to believe. At the Galactic Council, alien delegates mocked the tales. The humans spin shadows because they fear the light, one declared, and laughter filled the chamber, but among them sat those who did not laugh. The Zayari archivists remembered the first time humans brought nuclear fire into space. The Drevik commanders remembered how human marines fought in the swamps of Rune 5, where no other soldier survived, and the silent Alvarin, a race of watchers, leaned close and whispered, "If the humans have turned to the void, we must beware." Back on Earth, silence was their greatest shield. The world's governments did not confirm, did not deny. Their fleet left no records, no public broadcasts, only shadows moving in the dark. Even human citizens whispered without certainty. Were these ships real, or were they only stories made stronger by fear? But in hidden shipyards, deep under frozen oceans and hollowed moons, the truth waited. The warships existed, and soon the galaxy would see them. The rumors spread like wildfire across the stars. A child on a distant colony asked his mother if the Shadow Fleet would come to protect them. Merchants began to reroute their journeys, avoiding human space even if it cost them fortune, and soldiers on faraway battlefronts prayed never to meet the black hulls in combat. The galaxy did not know what was coming, but every whisper, every shiver in the void carried the same message. Humanity had built something terrible, something silent, something that could not be stopped. And when it arrived, the galaxy itself would fall quiet. The Council's fear. The Galactic Council chamber was never quiet. It was built at the heart of a shining station, a place where thousands of voices argued at once, echoing through marble halls and crystal domes. Normally the noise was a sign of strength, a symbol that many species came together to decide the fate of the stars. But on this day, the noise was different. It was not laughter, not pride, but unease. The rumors of Earth's dark matter warships had reached even here. Delegates waved their tendrils, wings, or hands, trying to drown each other out. The humans bluff, they always bluff, hissed a thin-scaled Trevarn, slamming his claw on the desk. They have no power beyond their loud words. Others nodded, desperate to believe. But still, reports lay on the central table, convoys disappearing, pirate fleets silenced, sensor readings showing empty voids that should not exist. The High Speaker of the Council, an old being of silver skin called Varel, raised his staff. "Peace," he commanded, though his voice cracked. The humans spread fear, and fear makes us weak. We will not be ruled by shadows. Yet his eyes betrayed worry. His voice lacked the calm it once carried. From the lower benches, a Drevek commander stood, his armor scarred from past wars. "I fought humans," he growled. "I saw them fight with broken rifles, with bare hands, with fire in their eyes. They do not bluff. They survive." The chamber fell silent for a moment, his words cutting through. Then came the voice of the Ziari archivist, her long crystal body glowing faintly. "We keep records of every war," she said. "When humans fight, they do not stop. When they fall, they rise again. If they have made ships of the void, then we must listen." Still, the proud races shouted, the Virden laughed, their metallic jaws clanging. "We are millions, they are one world. If they bring shadows, we will bring fire. If they bring silence, we will bring thunder." Their arrogance filled the hall, but it did not erase the fear behind their eyes. While they argued, an emergency message came through. A small escort fleet near the rim had vanished. No distress calls, no wreckage, nothing. Only a single transmission survived, a captain's voice whispering, "The stars are gone," before silence claimed him. The council chamber froze, even the loudest voices stilled. Varel struck his staff again. "We cannot let humanity rise unchecked," he declared. "If their warships are real, then we must show unity. We must remind them that the galaxy will not bow to Earth." He called for fleets to gather, for weapons to be prepared. But in the shadows of the chamber, not all agreed. A silent Alvaran delegate leaned toward his kin, his eyes like black pools. "They prepare fire against darkness," he whispered. "It will do nothing. The humans have touched something greater than war, something older than stars. We should not fight, we should submit." But no one listened to the quiet voice of the watchers. Beyond the walls of the council, fear spread faster than orders. Merchants whispered of closing their routes through human space. Colonies demanded protection. Soldiers heard stories of weapons swallowed whole, of shadows that killed without sound, and their morale began to crack. The council tried to calm them with speeches, but words were weak when silence moved in the dark. The galaxy's greatest powers had mocked Earth for centuries, calling them reckless, fragile, small. Now, with every new rumor, with every lost fleet, they began to realize a truth they could not ignore. Humanity had built something beyond their understanding, and it was moving. The first sight. The first sighting came without warning. It was a patrol mission, routine, dull, the kind of duty young officers hated. 4 scout ships of the Virden Empire cruised along the edge of human territory, their crews laughing, mocking the shadow stories they had heard in the council chamber. Their commanders told them to stay alert, but no one expected anything. The void was empty, quiet, endless. At first it was only a flicker. One pilot swore the stars shifted like a curtain moving over the sky. The others laughed, calling it fatigue, until the stars disappeared again. Not dimmed, not covered by clouds, but erased, gone. An impossible black shape glided across their vision, too vast to measure, too quiet to track. "Scan it," barked the Virden captain, his metallic voice sharp. The ships turned their sensors toward the shadow, beams of light and waves of energy shooting forward, but the readings returned nothing. The scanners showed empty space, no mass, no energy, no ship, and yet the crew's eyes saw it, an outline moving like the night sky itself. Panic spread across the comms. "Impossible," one officer cried. "The instruments are blind. It's like it doesn't exist." The captain roared back, "Weapons online, fire!" Dozens of plasma bolts and missile bursts flew into the void. Every strike vanished into the black swallowed hole. No light, no sound, not even an echo. The shadow paused, as if it had noticed them. A low vibration rolled through their ships. Not sound, but a feeling in their bones. Some screamed, clutching their heads. Others froze, unable to move, as if an unseen hand pressed against their very thoughts. Then, across every channel, in every language, a voice spoke, calm, steady, human. "You are trespassing." The words hit harder than any weapon. The Virden ship shook as if the void itself pressed against them. The captain shouted, "Orders, retreat, retreat now." But it was too late. One by one, the scout ship's lights flickered out, engines died, power drained, and the crew screamed in darkness, The last thing they saw was the shadow warship moving closer, its outline blotting out half the stars. And then silence. Only one fragment escaped. A distress signal cut halfway, the voice of a young pilot gasping, "The stars are gone." Before the feed ended forever, the signal reached the council hours later. Delegates gathered, staring at the replay in horror. There was no debate now, no mocking laughter. The humans had shown their hand, and the galaxy trembled. In the weeks that followed, more sightings came. A Zayari research station reported a dark eclipse drifting past their moon. A Drevek war frigate claimed its weapons were absorbed by nothingness before its crew vanished. Merchants swore they saw a wall of black pass silently through their routes, leaving behind ships with no power, floating like dead husks. The galaxy's whispers turned into cries of fear. Children asked their parents why the stars sometimes disappeared. Soldiers refused to patrol near human space, and entire colonies began evacuating worlds close to Earth's borders. Fear spread like infection, faster than any council speech could control. On Earth, the silence continued. No confirmations, no denials, no broadcasts. Only the shadows moving through the void, watching, waiting. The humans spoke little, but their message was clear in every vanished ship, in every black horizon. They no longer begged for respect. They demanded it. And the galaxy, for the first time in ages, had no reply. The first sight of the dark matter warships had ended every doubt. They were real. They were unstoppable. And they were only just beginning to move. Humanity speaks. For weeks the galaxy held its breath. The council argued. Fleets gathered, and citizens whispered of stars that vanished without reason. But Earth itself had remained quiet, silent as the shadows it had unleashed. That silence broke on the day every communication channel in the galaxy flickered at once, across thousands of systems. On every ship, every station, every colony, screens turned black, voices cut off mid-sentence, alarms blared, and then a single image appeared. It was not a face, not a flag, not a symbol. It was the outline of a warship, vast, dark, swallowing the stars behind it. The room around it seemed empty, as if the void itself had bent to obey. Then a voice spoke, steady, calm, human. "We asked for peace," the voice said. "We asked for respect, for safety, for the chance to live among the stars as equals." A pause came, and in that pause, every heartbeat across the galaxy seemed to stop. "But you mocked us, you dismissed us, you preyed upon our people, and you turned your backs when we asked for aid." The words carried weight heavier than any weapon. Some tried to cut the transmission, but their systems refused to obey. The message continued, unstoppable. "So we built what you feared. We built what you believed impossible." The image shifted, showing not one warship, but hundreds, thousands, lined in formation like a wall of night. "We are humanity, children of a death world, forged in storms and fire. We do not bluff, we endure, we fight, and we survive." In the council chamber, silence fell like a shroud. The proudest delegates lowered their eyes. The loudest found no words. Only the Alvarin, the watchers of silence, nodded slowly, as if they had expected this moment all along. The human voice continued, "Do not mistake this for conquest. We do not seek to rule your stars. But we will not bow, we will not beg, and we will not allow the galaxy to treat us as less than what we are." The shadows behind the speaker seemed to pulse, as though the warships themselves were listening. "If you threaten us again, if you harm our people, then you will know the true silence of the void, the silence of extinction." Then the screens went black, the message ended, and normal systems returned. But nothing felt normal anymore. Every species sat frozen, staring into the dark corners of their ships and homes, wondering if the shadows were already there, watching, waiting. In the aftermath, chaos erupted. Merchants panicked, canceling their trade routes. Colonies demanded to leave council authority, choosing instead to pledge neutrality with Earth. Even the mighty Drevek fleets pulled back from their borders, afraid to provoke a force they did not understand. Within the council, debate turned to terror. Some shouted for war, desperate to show power. Others begged for diplomacy, warning that war against shadows was suicide. But no one could deny the truth. The galaxy had heard humanity speak, and they could not ignore it. On the streets of alien cities, the common people whispered a new name for the humans. Not reckless, not fragile, not primitive. They called them the Shadow Bearers. And for the first time in memory, children of worlds that once mocked Earth drew pictures of black warships in their schools, wide-eyed with fear and awe. Meanwhile, in hidden shipyards under frozen seas and hollowed moons, the dark matter warships gathered. Their black hulls gleamed faintly, swallowing light like hungry beasts. Engines hummed without sound. Weapons shimmered unseen. They did not move quickly. They did not need to, for the galaxy already felt their presence. The silence of their shadow stretched farther than any fleet could travel. Humanity had spoken, and the galaxy could only listen. The silent armada. The galaxy thought it had seen everything. It had seen fleets of 1,000,000 ships clash in burning skies. It had seen stars cracked open by weapons of fire. It had seen worlds erased in a single scream of plasma. But it had never seen silence like this. It began in the Helion system, a bright cluster of trade routes and colonies. Ships drifted in normal patterns, merchants loading and unloading, soldiers patrolling, civilians rushing through stations. Then the stars began to vanish one by one. At first, no one noticed, thinking it was a sensor glitch or a passing shadow. But then entire constellations disappeared, swallowed by black shapes moving slow and steady. The first scream came from a merchant captain. "There's something in the dark, it's blocking the stars," he cried, his voice trembling. When the other ships turned their scanners, they saw nothing. Empty space, no energy, no readings. Yet before their eyes, vast silhouettes slid across the system, blotting out suns, eclipsing moons. The silent armada had arrived. They came without sound, without light, without warning. Warships the size of cities, their hulls bending light around them, making space itself shiver. They moved as one, an endless wall of night drifting through the system. Engines did not roar, weapons did not flash, only silence followed them. Panic tore through the Helion colonies, civilian ships scattered, colliding in their rush to escape. Stations powered down, their governors whispering prayers. Children cried as the sky above their worlds turned black. Not from clouds, not from eclipse, but from the shadows of human warships. The Council's response was immediate. A fleet of 500 ships was sent to intercept, led by Admiral Kryth of the Virden, a commander famed for his ruthlessness. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the shifting black wall. They cannot hide forever," he snarled. "Open fire!" Thousands of weapons discharged at once, beams of plasma, kinetic warheads, antimatter torpedoes, the greatest weapons of a dozen species. They streaked into the void, blazing against the shadows, and then, nothing. Every blast vanished, absorbed, erased, like raindrops falling into the ocean. The dark matter hulls did not even flicker. The armada did not slow, did not turn, did not answer. It simply kept moving. And then one ship broke formation, sliding silently toward the Council fleet. Its black surface shimmered faintly, a ripple in the void. Admiral Kryth shouted for his ships to stand firm, but his voice shook. Without a flash, without a sound, the human warship struck. A single pulse of unseen energy rippled out. Half the Council fleet winked out of existence. No explosion, no wreckage, only silence. The remaining ships screamed panic, their formations breaking, their captains begging for retreat. Admiral Kryth's final words were broadcast across the system. "It's not a fleet, it's the void itself." Before his flagship was swallowed whole, the Helion system fell into chaos. Civilians abandoned stations, colonies sent desperate messages begging for mercy, but the silent armada did not conquer. It did not fire again. It simply passed through, leaving only silence and fear behind. Across the galaxy, the story spread faster than light. No one spoke of human weakness anymore. No one laughed at Earth. Instead, whispers filled every home, every station, every world. "The shadows are coming," they said. "The silent armada is moving." On Earth, the leaders remained silent. No speech, no demand, no gloating. Their fleet spoke for them, and that silence was louder than any war cry. The galaxy had seen power before, but never like this. Never so absolute, never so unstoppable, never so silent. The silent Armada had taken the stage, and the galaxy could only watch. The standoff. The galaxy had no choice. The Council could not remain silent while entire systems trembled under the shadow of Earth's armada. If they did nothing, their people would lose faith, and the Council itself would collapse. So they gathered their greatest force across hundreds of worlds. Fleets rose into the void, warships of every empire, every race, called together in one desperate stand. It was the largest armada the galaxy had seen in centuries, over 2 million ships, lined in formation, weapons primed, banners raised, a storm of fire and steel meant to overwhelm even the impossible. On the command station orbiting Rydal Prime, the Council leaders watched. Screens displayed the massive gathering, their fleets stretching across the void like a wall of fire. Admirals spoke of strategy, of numbers, of victory, but beneath their words lay fear, for none of them forgot Helion, where half a fleet vanished without a sound. The silent armada arrived without warning. No bright jump signatures, no hyperspace ripples. One moment the stars shone clear. The next, they were gone. Blotted out by shadows drifting into position, the human fleet had come, and it was larger than anyone had dared imagine. Dark matter warships stretched across the void, rows upon rows, silent, endless. Their black hulls swallowed light. Their edges rippled like liquid night. Where the Council fleet looked proud and blazing, the human armada looked eternal. As if space itself had chosen to move against them, the Council admiral gave the order, his voice cracking. All fleets fire! A storm of destruction burst forward, millions of weapons unleashed at once, plasma beams, antimatter torpedoes, railgun slugs. The void lit up with fury. Every race poured their firepower into the black wall, and for a moment hope flickered. Then it was gone. The shadows absorbed it all. Plasma vanished. Torpedoes dissolved, kinetic rounds melted away into nothing. The dark matter hulls shuddered faintly, as if amused, and then silence returned. The first human strike came without warning. A ripple of unseen energy swept across the battlefield. Entire fleets winked out, their ships erased in perfect silence. One moment 200,000 vessels filled the void, the next only emptiness remained. There were no explosions, no wreckage, only absence. Panic tore through the Council lines. Captains screamed orders. Formations broke. Ships scattered. Some tried to flee, only to find their engines dead, drained by invisible force. Others charged in desperation, only to be swallowed whole. The battlefield was chaos, lit not by fire, but by the cold glow of dying systems. On Rydal Prime, the Council leaders watched in horror. They had thrown their greatest strength into the void, and the void had swallowed it whole. In the center of the storm, one human warship moved forward. Its vast hull glimmered faintly, like liquid night rippling across the stars. A message carried through every channel, every mind, calm and steady. You cannot fight the void. The words crushed what little courage remained. The Council fleets broke completely. Admirals abandoned their command. Ships fled in every direction, but no pursuit came. The silent armada did not chase, did not conquer. It simply watched, silent and eternal, as the galaxy's greatest force scattered like dust. When the battle ended, silence reigned, millions of ships gone, an entire armada erased, and humanity's fleet remained untouched. Not a single shadow had fallen. The galaxy understood then, war against Earth was no longer possible. They could gather every ship, every weapon, every soldier, and it would change nothing, for humanity did not fight as others did. Humanity commanded silence itself. The galaxy falls silent. The battlefield around Rydal Prime was gone. Where once the Council had gathered 2 million ships, now only silence remained. No wreckage, no fire, no drifting hulls, just empty space, as if the fleets had never existed. The silent armada drifted forward, not in victory, but in quiet. Their black hulls glided through the void, vast and eternal. They did not chase the survivors. They did not fire again. They only passed, as though the galaxy itself now opened a path for them. Across the stars, worlds watched in fear. On Helion, children whispered at night, "The stars are gone again." On Drevek outposts, hardened soldiers laid down their weapons, unwilling to face the void. On merchant routes, captains rerouted ships thousands of light years away from human space, even if it cost them everything. The galaxy had fallen silent not by force but by fear. In the Council chamber, the delegates sat in shock. The loudest voices were gone, the proudest had fled. Only a few remained, whispering like broken shells of leaders. "What do we do now?" one asked, his trembling hands clutching the desk. Another answered with hollow eyes, "We live quietly, and we do not wake the shadows." The Alvarin, the silent watchers, finally spoke aloud. "We warned you," they said softly. "The humans do not fight for conquest, they fight for survival, and survival makes them unstoppable. Now the void belongs to them." No one argued because no one could, and on Earth, the silence continued. There were no speeches, no parades, no claims of empire. Humanity did not need to boast. The galaxy's silence was victory enough. In hidden shipyards, more warships stirred, their black hulls rising from frozen oceans, hollow moons, and secret stations. They waited patient, eternal, for humans had learned one lesson above all. Power was not in fire, not in thunder, not in noise. Power was in silence. Generations would pass, and still the stories would remain. Children on distant worlds would look at the night sky and whisper about the day the stars disappeared. Merchants would mark human space on their maps with trembling hands, drawing wide circles to stay away, and soldiers would pray never to hear the calm human voice in their minds, saying, "You cannot fight the void." In time, respect replaced fear. Alien leaders bowed their heads when speaking to human envoys. Colonies asked for human protection instead of council fleets. And the galaxy that once mocked Earth now spoke only in whispers when naming it. Humanity had risen, not as conquerors, but as shadows in the dark. They had taken the galaxy's laughter and replaced it with silence. And silence was louder than war, louder than victory, louder than fear. The stars belonged to everyone, but the void now belonged to Earth, and the galaxy would never forget the day the silent armada arrived, for on that day the galaxy itself fell silent.